Another thing that we had Hello everybody, I am back with another organizing video. So today I want to talk to you about homework. I know we have a really long time before school actually starts, but hopefully I can give you some really good ideas that you can start working on during the summer so that when school does start, you are as ready as possible. So before I jump in and I show you my 2015 homework organization, I want to talk to you a little bit about how I actually got to where I am, because there were a lot of different factors that kind of changed and evolved over time that got me to the point where I am today. So let's talk about my first year. My first year teaching, I wasn't going to try to reinvent anything. Kindergarten was a new world to me, and I wanted to just be able to do the best that I could. So I took what my team had already done, and they were using a 2-pocket blue plastic folder, and inside of it they had 3 leveled books, homework log, and then they also had a homework sheet that focused on phonics and phonemic awareness. Now, it was great. I loved it in the beginning. However, I did find some things that were just a little difficult for me. So, like, the kids would drop everything out of the folder, which didn't work out so well because everything would get mixed up at the end of the day, and having to figure out who had what and who needed what was kind of difficult. So, I didn't like the whole folder idea. Moving on to my second year of teaching, I had this fantastic teamie who came up with a clear Velcro folder, and this was genius. Nothing fell out. Everything was contained inside this sweet little folder. It was Velcroed shut so the kids would never be able to drop anything out of it when they were getting it out of their mailboxes. Here's what was not so fabulous about it. Books were still driving me crazy. Since my first year, having to find books, having to put the books away, having to sort through the books, having to make sure everybody had certain levels, making sure that I had enough books in the first place, so going to the reading lab. There were just so many things that I wasn't really in control of. I was having to run from here and there and having to go during my breaks and sort the books and put the books and make sure everybody had this. During small group, there were probably 2 groups that had the exact same hardcourt book that we were using. So not everybody could have a hardcourt book. And that was difficult. Very difficult. So the books were not a huge improvement for me. I was still having to waste probably about 15-20 minutes on Fridays putting the books away. I would have to waste another 15 minutes on Monday trying to get the books sorted and trying to collect books. So that was still something that I had not solved. I was really happy with the clear folder, but the books was still another issue. Another thing that my kids would be taking home every day was the red communication folder. This was a school-wide deal that everybody did in their classrooms. So every student had a red communication folder, and this would allow us to send work home. We would send notes there, and notes would come back. Money would come through our red folder, permission slips would come through our red folder. It was our main communication with our parents. So with the red folder and then having the clear folder, I didn't like that I had so many things that I had to look at. I wasn't able to look at their reading log until the end of the week because I would send that folder home for the whole week, and it would stay home and they would return it on Friday. So I wasn't really sure if parents were filling it out every day and they were reading every day, or if they were just kind of filling it in at the end of the week. So I wanted something that could combine both. I wanted to combine the homework folder and I wanted to combine the red communication folder into one so that there was only one means of communication with my parents. I didn't like having to organize the homework folders and having to organize the red folders and checking both of those every single day. It just wasn't something that was efficient enough for me. So last year I was on Pinterest. And found different types of homework folders. I mean, people are super genius, right? Like, there were these star binders, the gold binder, and I stumbled upon the hero binder. which, if you don't know, my classroom is a superhero theme. So the hero binder, it was something that just fit well with my classroom. And the hero binder is an acronym for helping everyone remain organized. And I loved this because I was able to put in a 2-pocket tab inside of the binder, and then I had about 4 clear sheet protectors behind that. The sheet protectors had just different things that they can practice throughout the week, and it just had some really good reference sheets that they could use. Inside of the tab folder, I had their behavior chart, and then I also had their reading log with their homework books. Now, the homework sheet I got rid of. It wasn't something that I was loving a whole lot. I didn't know really what to do with it at the end of the week. And it was starting to just become a pile of papers. And I went to a conference where a gentleman had, I want to say his name was Robertson. Anyways, I can't remember. I don't remember. So he had mentioned that students only need 10 minutes of explicit phonics and phonemic awareness instruction. Beyond that, it's pointless. They don't have to have it. So I was providing that 10 minutes of explicit phonemic and phonics instruction in the classroom, so it was pointless sending it home and having them just practice something over and over again. So I kind of got rid of it. And I'll show you again more of why I got rid of it. So with my hero binder, there were great things with it. I had one means of communication that I was sending home, but I did find that I had some things that were just not working for me. The book situation was not fixed yet. The books would still be able to fall out, so that wasn't really working for me. And another thing is that inside of the binders, the pockets that it comes with in the binder were tearing. So when I would have to send work home, a lot of kids were having to shove it in just random pockets that were inside of it because the other ones were already torn. And I didn't like how bulky the binder was. It couldn't fit behind in their chair pockets, and it wasn't fitting inside of their mailboxes. So I needed something smaller and more compact, which is why I did like the red folder in the first place, is that they could put it inside of their mailboxes and it would fit perfectly. So moving on to this year and what I'm going to be doing. I was so excited about this new way that I was going to be doing homework because finally it felt like my book system was going to be solved. I had something that was more organized and more simplistic and more efficient for me to have, instead of having to worry about sorting books and putting books back. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you an actual how I am doing my homework for 2015, and I'm going to give you an aerial view so that you can get a really good look at all the things that I'm going to be using to give out my homework. So this is what my folder looks like, nothing special. So on this pocket, since it's the left-hand pocket, this is all the stuff that is left at home. On here, on the right pocket is the stuff that comes right back to school. And I will typically put a little sticker here that's going to have a school label with a little school picture, and then this is going to have a little home label with a little home picture, just so that for my my ELs too, for those who don't speak English at home, they have a visual cue on whether or not it's left at home or comes back to school. So now let me kind of show you what I have inside of all of this goodness. Each day I do a behavior log for my kids. I don't really know where I can't remember where I got the calendar from, but the calendar is just pretty simple and blank. There's nothing special to it. It has the month, and I will usually fill in the weeks here. And if I have like no school or, field trip or just something that's really, really important, I will write it super small here before I go and make copies. But you'll notice down here, I kind of ghettofied it, and I made my own little label down here, and then when I go to make copies, it doesn't look this way. So with this, these are behavior codes, and I made this to fit what I grade for our report cards, because we have behavior things that we have to grade each 9 weeks. And I kind of corresponded it with that. So like, let's say my kid, somebody's talking in the hallway. I will put like number 4, following directions, because they're not following directions. I will write a number 4 and saying talking in the hallway. And this is something parents have to initial every evening and return. So if they did great that day, they just get a little smiley face. After 5 smiley faces, they do not have to be in a row. They get to go to the treasure box or get a coupon. It keeps them on track. They enjoy it. And this goes right back into that pocket nicely. So on the back side is the daily reading log that I was telling you about. Now this is going to stay in here because at the end of the day, I like to be able to check it. So I will make sure that this was checked, and I'll stamp the one for the new day, and then I will take this out and put stamps so that I can see that my kids are reading every day instead of just at the end of the week being able to check them. I want to be able to see that, oh, my kids are reading, so that if they are reading something, I can add a little note. Fantastic job, so proud of you. Oh, I love that book. Or, if they're not reading, I can put a little sticky just saying, hey, friendly reminder, be sure to be reading with your child every day. Here is my kind of the hero binder, and this was from some sweet little blogger who had all this prepared. So, it kind of tells you what is a hero binder, the rules of it, and, some of the don'ts. It's a good reminder for what this is. The next thing I have is just a popcorn word practice, and these are all the popcorn words that students have to have learned by the end of the 4th 9 weeks. So this is just a great way for, if they have, index cards, they can write these on index cards and they can quickly review them, or they can just take it and check it off as they go, so that they can have a visual of, oh, this is what my kid's learning. A lot of the times I will go through and highlight, hey, practice these, or I've learned these. It just depends on every kid. Sometimes it's different. For here, I have an alphabet chart that I have everywhere in my classroom. I have little small ones of it. I have the big full sheets that are laminated. Each kid has one in their reading box so that they can read it, with partners every day. But it's just a basic alphabet chart that our county gave us. Then I provide... this around. Then I provide the reading strategies. So I provide reading strategies for them, and as we go along and we learn these, kids go home and are able to tell them what each of these strategies mean, and they have a reference so that they can go back and check as they're reading their Just Right books. Then I also have on this side a math reference sheet. So something that shows, the dice, it shows it on a 10 frame, and it also shows it with the dots. And it gives them money, it tells them their basic 2D shapes, their color words, gives them a hundreds chart, and then a number line as well. It's a good reference sheet. And the reason I give them one of these is because I give them a monthly math calendar, and I don't have one, I couldn't find one from last year. So I put down the summer one just to give you an idea of it. Here's like our summer calendar, except every day would be a math day, and they would have a spot for them to put their initials in it. So as they were doing these and they needed help to reference something, they could always look back at that. Pretty simple, pretty basic. The blank page protector that you see would house my newsletter here, and then their lunch calendar here, so that they could always have a spot to reference it. I am not too great about sending emails. Usually on Fridays I'm having to rush out because my daycare closes earlier than any other day. So I have to rush out as soon as possible to be able to go pick up my youngest son. So newsletters go here so that they have a spot that they can go look at it, and then usually, I can email it Friday evening or Saturday morning, whichever it may be. And then here they have a spot that they can look at for their lunch calendar that the cafeteria provides for us. So this is basic. Pretty simple, nothing special. So the next thing I need to show you and talk to you about is the books. Remember, the books were the big thing, the big frustration that I had, because I had to, find them and sort them and organize them. And at the end of the week, I would have a ton of books that I would have to go through, and I didn't have time for it. So this is the system that I came up with. Now, here's your warning, because this is going to be a project that takes a lot of time, and it is something that you will have to invest some money in. Unless you have a school that can provide all of these resources for you, or you already have them in your classroom, this is something that you will have to think about investing in, or maybe switching it up and making it a little different so that you can make it fit for your needs. So here is my homework folder, and it's just a plain, what are these called? Like manila folders? I don't know. They have those little brads on there. So here's what I did. I just made a generic cover, nothing really special, fancy. And if you'll notice down here, it says level and then a number. Now the level depends on the level of the books. So A, B, C, D, E, F. I think I go all the way up to a G, because I have had students who were reading on a level G. Now, as time goes through, I'm pretty sure that I may have to add more folders to these. I may have to go up more levels. It just depends on my kids and what they need. So then after the level comes the number, and that corresponds with what number folder it is. So this is folder number 1. This is folder number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and etc. and etc. So I have 20 of the A folders, and that's what I'm going to start off with, is 20 A folders. So on the back, let me show you that. On the back of this, I put kind of a homework to do. And my reading coach had the brilliant idea of putting our retelling hands that we came up with. She created one for fiction that had, character, setting, beginning, middle, end. And it had some kind of questions that you could, some starter questions that you could ask as you're doing with your retelling hand. Then I went on ahead and created the nonfiction version of it. So a topic, a main idea, and a detail, and a detail. Again, with some of those prompting questions that the parents could give. Then I have a section for the homework to-dos. And so here it says read each book every night. Have your child retell the story using the 5-finger hand above. Find the popcorn words in the book. After you find the popcorn words, write on an index card or paper and cut out each letter. Have your child play scramble eggs and put them back together. So let me give you an example of that activity. So inside are 3 different books, and I got these off of Amazon. I ordered sets of them. And each folder, this is important, each folder has 3 different books, so the kids will never have a repeating book. And I wrote down the name of the book with the ISBN number just in case it was lost or parents needed to replace it. They could either provide me the money or they can locate the book themselves and return it back to me. Okay, so the first one is find the popcorn words in the book. After you find the popcorn words, write on the index card. So here it says, I see a leaf. So the child would say, oh, we know the word see. So then the parent could give them, I know this is not an index card, but it's what I got. They can write the word see. Grab their scissors. Cut them up. And say, okay, put them back together. And they would say scrambled eggs. My kids love this. Scrambled eggs, scrambled eggs, scrambled eggs, scrambled eggs. Stop. All right, now they have to put it back together. So they would say S-E-E-C. So it's just an activity that they can do at home if parents choose to do more. The next one is play scrambled the sentence. So it would be the same thing, except this time we're taking a sentence. Oops. So I see a leaf, period. And they would say, okay, let's scramble it. And they could review those popcorn words, and then they would say scrambled eggs, scrambled eggs, scrambled eggs, stop. And they would say, see I a leaf? Does that make sense? And they would say, no, that's a silly sentence. Scramble, 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 scramble. A leaf I see. Oh no, that's silly too. And so they would just play that game until they would put it back together. This one talks about fiction, so it says fiction only, placing the story back in order so they can put some details onto different index cards and then place them back in order. Another fiction only is a identify the characters in the setting and the story. Fiction only, discuss, write, draw your child's favorite part of the book. And then nonfiction, have your child write or draw 3 things that they learned about. So just some different things that parents can do at home to kind of supplement and add more to their learning. And then these would fit right back in here. Now, I know you're wondering what is going to make this so special. So the beauty about this is that the books stay in this folder. I never have to take them out. They are always going to stay in there. This entire folder goes home with that child on Monday and it comes back on Friday. And all I have to do is make sure, oh, there are 3 books in there. Okay, you're done. And I would put it right back into my file cabinet in order. So let me show you how this is going to stay organized with my checklist. Okay, so here is what my checklist looks like. And each level is going to have a different page. So here is level A page, level B, level C, level D, and it keeps going to whichever level you want it to stop at. I went on ahead and just made all the way to level E, and then I stopped because I haven't started making my folders past level E just yet. So looking at the checklist, down the left side of the page is going to have a spot for you to put your students' names. I go ahead and I made up 3 names here, but I would go ahead and write their names in just so that I can have them in order. Up at the very top, you're going to notice that each one is going to have the level, and then it's also going to have the number of the folder. So for instance, this is A1, A2, A3. So all of these are going to be for level A, and it goes all the way to the number of folders where I stop, and I stop at 20. For level B, you're going to notice it says B1, B2, and so on and so forth, goes all the way to 20 because I'm going to have 20 folders for level B. Level C, I stopped at 15 folders. So just depending on how many you want to have for each level would depend on what numbers you stop up at the very top. So let's talk about how I'm actually going to use this in my classroom. So let's say the first time I give homework, it is August the 10th. And Susie Homemaker here takes home the A8 folder on August 10th. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that Monday date down. So 8/10. So I know that on 8/10, she took that folder home for that week. Johnny takes home A9, and it's also 8/10. So I'll write down 8/10, and Lola Matchmaker does the exact same thing. Lola Matchmaker takes home A10 on August 10th. So they bring it back on Friday, all is well in the world. They have all 3 books inside of their folders. So that next Monday, which is the 17th, they are going to take home a different folder. So since she went on ahead and took home A8, I'm going to just give her A9. So then I'm going to write that Monday down. 8/17, Johnny Jumpers takes the A10 home on the 17th, and Lola Matchmaker takes home A11. 11 on the 17th. So then let's say I do my running records and oh yay, happy news, Johnny moves on to a level B. So I'm going to just go ahead and cross him out, and I'm going to put down over here at the end that he is now on a level B. So then when I go to give him homework for that next week on the 24th, I can just pull up my B and say, ooh, yay, you get to start with a B1. So then I'm going to put down I think I said 27. I'm just making it up now. 827. And then everybody else is going to be on the exact same thing. They are still on a level A. And once they finished with that level, then they get to move on to the next. Or if I have to go back and add more folders, I can definitely do that in the middle of the year. It just depends on what your kids need. So I hope that this was a really good overview of how I'm going to be doing homework in my classroom this year. If you have any kind of questions or comments, please make sure you leave them down below, and I will be checking so that I can answer those for you. Also, go and check out my blog, theletteredclassroom.blogspot.com. I'm going to have a detailed post on the homework that I'm going to be doing, so if you want to read more about it and see some pictures, I'm going to have those up there as well. So, hope this was beneficial. Hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up if you did like it, and y'all have a great day. Bye! Hey there, today I'm going to give you a sneak peek into my teacher planner. So, when you think about a teacher planner, what is the first thing that